Hello and welcome back to the Bibs Corner podcast. And, I did watch Antebellum yesterday and did a review for that. I ended up staying up till like 5 a.m. on Friday night or into Saturday morning. And, I went through my day on Saturday and then I ended up taking a quote unquote nap at 8 p.m. Saturday and did not wake up until midnight. I'm actually recording this at 4 a.m. And so what had happened was when I got up, I was like, I really should go back to bed. I don't want to miss all of Sunday. I have a lot of things I need to get done. So I chose to watch a movie. And, I just thought I'll throw on any movie, whatever, and go to bed after I watch the movie. And so I chose Vampires versus the Bronx because I had seen it advertised a little bit. I hadn't really paid attention to it too much, but it looked interesting. So I had planned to watch it at some point. And I said, that feels like the type of movie I can throw on and, just whatever. Maybe get some laughs and keep it moving. But the movie was actually really good. I really enjoyed the movie. I liked the cast. I like that it felt like there was no point where I would question where they were at. I hate movies that are located in a place with a very unique vibe to it and a feel to it and a language, and the way people treat each other to it. And then the movie doesn't have any of those real aspects in it. So this actually... it felt like the Bronx, and so I like that. I like the characters, and then they have like some real themes as well. So, with gentrification being the main theme, basically the kids in the movie. There's like a group of 3 kids. I'll get into that later. But the kids, the main storyline is that these kids are trying to save their local bodega. From gentrification, the rent's going up, and the kid wants to raise some money to help the guy keep his store, basically. And so while they're doing that, there's this real estate company that's buying up all the businesses on the block, and basically they're trying to stop them. And so on top of that, we find out very early in the movie that these people from this real estate company are not just real estate people, they are also vampires, and that's where the vampires aspects come in. So it presents it in a mysterious way, so it's not like they're blatantly vampires, like they're not obvious in the daylight type of thing. So it's very interestingly done. So with that said, I'm going to give y'all the quote-unquote elevator review, and then I'll get into the main review. So the elevator review, again, quick review, no risk of any spoilers or anything like that. The movie's funny. It's authentic to the Bronx with a mix of black characters and Latin/Afro-Latin characters. Has a great cast. And, it's a gentrification story, but the gentrifiers are also secretly vampires. And if you're fine with the fantasy elements with vampires, then you probably can enjoy this movie. But we'll get into more specifics after this quick break. All right, welcome back to the Bibs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins, at Bibs Film for anything movie related, and at Bibs Corner for the sports stuff, as usual. And again, Vampires versus the Bronx. I really enjoyed this movie. I really didn't expect to, and that's kind of how it works for me oftentimes, is if I go in with low expectations and you give me a quality product, I'm probably gonna like it, and maybe even to some people overrate it. So I'm not gonna say that that's necessarily the case here, but again, Went in with absolutely no expectations, which is usually a good thing for me, and it worked out for this movie for sure. So what is it about? I gave you a little bit of an idea in the beginning, but I can get into more detail here. So basically, the main character is a kid named Miguel, who everyone affectionately calls Lil Mayor. He's played by Jaden Michael, who actually was in a few episodes of The Get Down. He has a friend named Bobby, who's played by Gerald Jones III, who was also in The Get Down. And then a friend Luis, played by Gregory Diaz IV, who I don't know if I've seen him in anything, but he is going to be in the In the Heights movie that's coming out. So definitely busy kids here. So but anyway, so Lil Mayor and his friends Bobby and Luis, they're trying to save the local bodega from the effects of gentrification. The rent's being raised on the shop owner, who is actually played by and I probably should have looked this up. Dang. It's being played by one of the guys from De Sousa Mero. Let me make sure I know which one is which. I think it's Mero, but let's find out. Yeah, the kid Mero as Tony. Tony's the bodega owner, so he actually has a pretty big role in this movie. So they're trying to help Tony keep his bodega. They're going to throw a block party, and they're basically passing out flyers all over town, and Miguel is the ringleader here, so that's why they call him Lil Mayor, because he's very involved in the community. A company called Murnau Enterprises is buying up all the businesses on the block, and the kids basically are trying to stop them from getting the bodega. And that becomes the main storyline of the movie. The movie actually starts with a scene featuring Zoe Saldana, who is a nail salon operator. And I won't spoil it. But you get a very quick introduction to who these people are and what they're capable of, what they do, and what, how the whole gentrification thing looks to people. So again, it's a gentrification story with the vampires added in to kind of spice it up a little bit, make it a horror comedy type of thing. And early in the movie, Miguel goes a place that he shouldn't go. He sees something he shouldn't see, basically the vampires in action. And so then, he tells his friends, and, people are hesitant to believe this, right? So I did appreciate that, because nobody's going to believe in some vampires like straight off the bat. People laugh at him. They say he's going crazy and make little jokes about it. But he eventually gets at least his boys to buy in. And so, now it's time to figure out how to stop these vampires. On top of stopping the gentrification, it's like a 2-for-1 on stopping these people. So, a few things I loved about this movie. First of all, it's a very short runtime. It's like an hour and 24 minutes. So very easy to consume. That's part of why I played it. I didn't want to watch a 2-hour movie, so I thought I'd throw on something short. And it was short, straight to the point, didn't waste any time. Got straight down to business. First thing I liked about the movie, I kind of mentioned this early on too, but the authenticity. The kids felt like New York kids. New York kids are not like kids in other places. They're more mature for the most part. They talk a different way. The accents were authentic. I enjoy the authenticity in that realm. I hate when they set a movie in a place and then get kids or people that don't sound like they're from that place to play their parts. I mentioned this on the last pod too. Like one of the movies I'm working on writing right now is set in Mississippi for the most part. And again, it would devastate me to be able to make that and then have them cast somebody who doesn't have at least from the South. Like I want, in my head, the lead is being played by a actor from the South. So I need that. On top of that, the neighborhood felt authentic. It felt like the Bronx, the people, the sense of community, the way everybody talks, the different things that people are doing, the actions, like people sitting on a street corner playing cards, or whatever the case may be. The bodega owner with the bodega cat. Um, the everybody knows everybody. The moms yelling at the kids out the window on the street, getting embarrassed in front of the girls walking down the block, like all that stuff was, like, felt real and funny, and I enjoyed it. None of the actions the characters took felt forced at all. Like, nothing made me roll my eyes like, all right, y'all are trying too hard, at all. So it all felt very, again, authentic. That was one of the whole points of one of the main things I liked about the movie is, again, nothing felt forced. And again, that's probably because these people really are from this area. Number two, it was funny. The people and the situations are humorous when it's meant to be humorous. So you aren't laughing at things that aren't meant to be laughed at, which is usually the goal there. Again, it is a horror comedy, but you don't want to be goofy with it, and they didn't venture into goofy territory for me. They have Chris Redd from Saturday Night Live is one of the guys who hangs out outside the bodega, like playing cards. And so every time he sees the kids, he's got some jokes. It's him and Vladimir, I think, Kamano are like, they're like buddies. I think I've seen Vladimir Kamano somewhere as well. But they're like, basically they're like all jokes whenever they're around. The guy that Mero plays also makes little jokes with the kids. Like, my favorite interactions with him is how scared he is of Miguel's mom. And like at one point he talks about not wanting, how if he does something at his store, then she's not just going to beat the kids, she's going to beat him too. So I appreciated those little things. A lot of trash talk, a lot of nicknames being thrown around. I laughed throughout the movie. Method Man is the only character in the movie that was like, y'all probably could have gone another way, but it kind of works too. He plays actually the Catholic priest, which is funny just on its own, and basically probably why he got that role. Let's see what else. That's really all I have on that. I don't want to go too deep into it. I laughed out loud several times in this movie. I laughed throughout the movie, and I laughed out loud a couple times. So, third thing I really liked is the mystery or thriller elements. So, during the early part of the movie, you're still kind of trying to figure out how everything works and who these people are, how they operate, what they're doing. So they don't throw the vampire stuff in your face so much. There's like one vampire character who like, they don't hide the fact that this person is a vampire. Like, when you see them, bad things are happening when they're on screen. But there's a few characters where it's like, is that person a vampire? Are they not? And you don't know, and you kind of got to figure that out over the course of the movie. So I did appreciate that. There was no real, I would say, fake outs, like where they pretend somebody's something and then take it back. But again, there's a few characters that you're not quite sure about how they're acting and stuff like that. So again, the mystery element, always like a good mystery. If you can hit me with a twist or a surprise and it not be completely unacceptable, perfect. There's a little bit of blood in this, but no real gore. It's PG-13, I think, and I think that's probably mostly due to language. It's not a violent movie at all. They show like scenes from Blade as well. That's the only time they show gore, actually. They show like a couple frames from Blade because the kids watch Blade as like a frame of reference for dealing with vampires. Overall, I thought it was a really fun movie. I'm not going to say it's changing the game or anything like that, but I really enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the story. And I love the way they wove the fantasy elements into a story about real life issues. So gentrification is real. these things are happening, but then adding that extra layer with the vampires made it a little bit more fun. And apparently, when I was reading up on IMDb about the movie, they put some real deep touches into it. So there's like one character at the real estate company. What's his name? Frank Polidori is one of the guys at the real estate company, and he's like one of the faces of it. He hit that name. Polidori is the name of the guy. So if you're a horror fan like myself, you may already know, but there was like a competition to write like the best scary story between some friends back in the day. And that was where, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I didn't even want it. I'm trying to find it. There we go. When Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, she won the contest, I believe. But like there were other stories written, and one of those was The Vampire, and it was written by John William Polidori. So basically that's a callback to him. The name Murnau is the last name of the director that wrote what is considered or directed what is considered to be the first vampire film, Nosferatu. So Murnau Enterprises is a throwback to him. And then apparently the symbol they use for Murnau Enterprises is Vlad the Impaler. It's like an image of Vlad the Impaler, who apparently he was the real life inspiration for Dracula. So again, nice little touches there. Again, Blade is referenced. And of course, you have to make your vampire rules. So the vampire rules are very convenient in this movie for certain things, but it's fine to me. It's a fantasy story. You're gotta expect some fantasy rules, and I think one of them was a little different than what I've heard before, but the rest are pretty standard vampire rules. I do want to say a few extra things, but I'm going to do that in my new spoiler section because I think it might be saying too much. Again, when I give you a review, I just want to give you the bare bones without actually telling you any main story points and stuff like that. So I'm going to do that after the spoiler ad. So if you've seen the movie or if you don't care about certain things being spoiled, I'm not going to just tell the movie per se, but I'm going to touch on some things that I feel like it would be better if you are trying to enjoy the movie. To me, I wouldn't want to know these things ahead of time. So another break, and I'll get into more detail about there was my one issue with the movie, and then I'm gonna just go over my issues with the movies, but I feel like they touch on things that, again, if you want to enjoy the movie, I wouldn't want to know these things going into it. So quick break, be right back. Okay, welcome back. So, getting into the things that may be considered spoilers. So, first of all, I do think I'm going to end up rating this movie about a 4.5. It's in that range for me, I think. So, that's a strong rating for me, and I am subject to changing ratings later, but so far I think 4.5. There's other movies I might need to move down, and maybe this could drop to a 4 at some point, but right now off recency bias considered, I'm starting it at 4.5. So the spoiler part. So my one biggest issue with the movie, and I think this is where you kind of struggle with being a kid's movie versus being an adult movie. I felt the resolution came way too easy, and I think it's part of why the movie is so short. Like once they get to a certain point, they just kind of wrap it up pretty quickly. I felt it was way too easy to take down the vampires in the end. I liked how the community showed up, but again, the last battle, if you will, was a little to me. It could have been more dramatic, if you will. It felt very Disney Channel. I watched the end of, I don't think I've seen the whole movie, but there's like a backwards magic movie on Disney Channel where they end up fighting like a big villain at the end, and like they take turns doing little things to kind of scare the villain, when the villain could have done like, the villain just kind of sat still and waited for it to happen, type of thing. And it kind of gave me those vibes. It's not as vanilla as that, but it's not too far away from it. So again, very Disney Channel-y type resolution. If they do kill at least one character that I like, and if they hadn't, then I would have said the movie was very Disney Channel. Like, you have to give me some real stakes. Like, I gotta lose something. I gotta at least fear that I'm going to. For the most part, they kill characters that you didn't care about or didn't like. For the first kill, I thought, okay, cool. Or not even the first one, I guess. The first one, once you're like into the story. So like the first like real kill that you're invested in, the movie at this point, they start with like bad guys, or guys that you don't like necessarily. And that's fine, just to let you know what these people are capable of. But like I said, you got to give me some stakes. I gotta lose somebody, and they do go there in this movies, which is necessary. I think the PG-13 rating is mostly for language. It's kind of an issue that CU yesterday had as well, where it kind of is vanilla-y. It could have been somewhat childish. And maybe not even CU yesterday. There's a few movies. Netflix has done this a few times, especially with black kids in movies, where they'll have them talking a certain way and using certain language. And the kids in this movie don't really do that, but the other people around them do, where they use certain language that keeps it from being a kids movie. But then everything that's happening in the movie feels very kid-like. Like it's not going to be as entertaining to adults, if you will. So, again, it gave me enough personally, but I can see people thinking that it's like too soft for them. But that's really it. I think I'm trying to keep these reviews short. I'm not trying to take all day to go through these. So I think this one is going to end up being less than 25 minutes. So perfect. I'm going to head out, and I may do a movie update pod today. Instead of doing them weekly, I think I'm going to just do monthly. I'm going to just run through all the movies I'm excited about at the start of the month. And, of course, if things change, then they change. But we'll worry about that later. So until then, peace.